My son, we had to get his and they have to know what it is. And I don't know. Jennifer was here before you guys met. We don't go with
Yes,
that.
and I think
Want to get out? Huh? You want to get out?
Where's the shot on TV?
is that Lisa?
Well, it's just, yeah, it's just, I mean, he's all the paperwork and stuff.
Well, in general, and this has nothing to do with this
I got to see what I'm supposed to say.
I'm looking to fund the third.
I know.
Really? It was.
Yeah, they could.
You are in
That's a bad sign. Lunch is not till 12:30.
We never pushed them to
Public school. Oh, really? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, no, I'm not. I hate to get up here and look stupid. I went over to Marcia and said, this one section? How are you?
I like it because
I don't pick up those. I don't pick up all that.
and I'm like, English is right around the corner. I know you look at it. No, it's 4 hours. Believe me.
It says, yeah, it doesn't. Hey, Sandy.
All right, James. So last year I did it at 10:03. We got to better that.
All right, we got to better it. Yes, you're right on track then. You're right on track to call it together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Hey, Ava, good to see you.
Very positive. Fall asleep.
Nice to see you.
I didn't pay for all the
You're here, Larry.
Good morning.
Doing all right.
Probably get in and stuff. Yeah. I had printed out those just in case.
That's great. Thank you.
I've been doing a lot of fishing with my son. You know, just in the lagoon there. You know, nothing big, but we catch a lot of small ones. And yes. 14
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. The Colonel set the example. My phones, I think, are on silent, so if you would please do the same, appreciate that. Welcome to all. I'm Colonel Jason Kirk, your commander of the Jacksonville District Army Corps of Engineers, and also the sitting chair of the South Florida Ecosystem Restoration Joint Working Group this morning and this year. So we thank everyone for attending. Marshall, we appreciate having you here from D.C.
Thank you.
And your work here as our interim director of the Office of Everglades Restoration Initiatives. Also want to welcome new work group member Ava down, Miss Ava Velez from the South Florida Water Management District. Welcome to Ava. Do we have any elected officials in the room? Okay, they're definitely here in spirit. I've talked to a couple in the last couple of days, so appreciate that. All right, at this point, I'm going to ask everyone to look at the minutes. They're in front of you. You'll notice last year we started at 10:03. I think we started at 10:01, so next year the president will start right at 10:00 hours, I'm sure. This meeting is being recorded, so I'm close to the mic because I want to make sure that the pickup will happen on the recording system. There will be, for the public, there will be 2 opportunities for public comment. And if you would, Sandy wave, and Alan's waving the blue cards, so if you intend to make a public comment, please fill out a card and provide it to our staff. Alan or Sandy will help you with that. If you would also note the relevant agenda item number on the card, that will help with the sequencing. With that, Mr. Critchfield, Marshall, any opening remarks for us on behalf of DOI?
Thank you, Colonel. I'll be brief. Thank you to the Colonel and to all of you for being here and all of those in the field working on Everglades restoration. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Secretary Ryan Zinke, who is a proud Westerner but understands the importance of Everglades restoration. I can think of no greater professional honor than to have worked on this incredible project. For me, it's kind of personal. I spent most of my life on the edge of the Everglades, and excuse me, I'm happy to be here on behalf of the department. Thank you all.
Mr. Erston, James from FWC, any opening comments for us?
Thank you, Chairman. Glad to have us all together here as a group again, both the working group and the science coordination team. And as you mentioned, in spirit, sir, with elected officials, I would like to say that within spirit, our newly conferred Executive Director, Eric Sutton, is here. He sends his regards to the group. And we have several new commissioners since the last time we met as well. 4 of those commissioners are all stationed in the South region and have parts of the Everglades in their backyard, and the agency is very engaged on this mission. And Marshall, we really appreciate what you said about it being an honor to work on the system. We do believe it is. Thank you.
James, thanks for that. Nick from USGS, Mr. Amman.
Yeah, Nick Alman, USGS, and chair of the Science Coordination Group. Nothing especially new to report. Just welcomed everyone here for this joint meeting. I also like to introduce Terry Bates. Everybody knows Terry. Susan Gray, the vice chair, couldn't be here today, so Terry's doing the job for her. Anything you want to say?
Susan, any comments? No. Ava.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ava Velez, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'd like to just say greetings on behalf of our Executive Director, Ernie Marks, and our new chair, Mr. Fernandez. We're excited to be a partner and are looking forward to a lot more progress this coming year, so thank you.
Excellent. Okay, with that, just a quick note from the Army Corps of Engineers, as I didn't mention at the outset. Certainly we're glad to be back together as a body and back together launching into next month's task force. It has been a hiatus for about 18 months, but with the new administration team in place, the task force is a critical meeting. So part of our purpose here today is certainly to set the deck and conditions for a successful task force with our principals out of DC. So both the Chief of Engineers, General Semonite, and then at the time the Acting Assistant Secretary of the Army, Mr. Fisher, they have spent time in the Everglades this year, in the past 5 months, back in January. And then I can assure you that now the ASACW, Mr. James, we've had several opportunities to brief him on the program, the importance of the program, and he's looking forward to being a part of the federal family meeting that's meeting just next week. In DC, prepping again for the 25 July task force meeting. All right, at this point, I believe we've got Mr. Ray Scott. Where's Ray? Oh, there you are, Mr. Ray. Sir, the lighting here is just a little bit off, so I'm calibrating, sir. Understand that you're going to be retiring from FDATS after 17 years of service, and I'd just like to recognize you for all your involvement within the Everglades restoration effort. So a round of applause for Ray.
I think he has to come up here, right?
Yes, Ray, you're going to have to come all the way up here as well. Appreciate the wave from the back.
Ambulatory, so.
It's only 17 years. Marshall, you want to come up? Sure. Seems like a ways to walk. You still see us, right? Flag and some Everglades in the background. Richie will figure it out. Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right. We also have another recent departure from this team, and that's Ms. Shannon Estenos. So if you would please come on up. Yes, ma'am.
Actually, could we get all of OERI up here real fast? Everybody in the in and out of the Navy office.
Come on, Kevin Berger.
So as they come up, I'll quickly read the citation. Presented to Ms. Shannon Estenos for your tireless efforts and outstanding contributions towards the mission of the South Florida Ecosystem Restoration Task Force and the restoration of America's Everglades.
Yeah. I got a couple. I got 26-foot whaler and 2,300 gallon hauls. Okay. Yeah. That's my record. All right. One week of turkey season, 1 week of deer season, and the rest of the time on the boat. Yeah. Yeah, scuba dive. It's really.
Colonel, we're not done just yet. With this being your last working group meeting here as district commander, we would like to thank you for your leadership and your command. You have been faced with droughts, floods, and catastrophic hurricanes within that time period. But specifically here within the Everglades, we'd like to thank you for your service to the working group, the task force, and restoration of the South Florida ecosystem.
Okay, well, and you all know, and I didn't have them all come up, but the colonels that get the honor of serving here are backed up by an incredible team, and many of the Army Corps teammates are here, and they have before and will continue into the future to do great things for America's Everglades. So it's been my honor to be a stewardship part of this team for these couple of years. Okay, with that, in the passing of the gavel, both ceremoniously and as a practical matter, we are looking for, first, the president will transition, or the vice chair will now become the chair of our next meeting. So that's the first transition. And then at this point, I'm just going to ask amongst the members, if you're interested to step up as the vice chair for this next year, please talk to James and I so that we can set the deck for moving forward beyond this session. Okay? At this point, I think we made it around to Ava, but if you're an agency leader, agency rep, I'd like to give you a chance for quick introductions just so we're kind of reset of who's who and who's here with us today in June of 2018. Sir.
Okay, I'm David Rudnick with National Park Service and an SCG rep.
Good morning, everybody. Pedro Ramos, Superintendent of Everglades and Dry Tortugas National Parks. And Mr. Chairman, in addition to everything that's been said, I also want to thank you, sir, as a Puerto Rican, personally for your service on the island. I don't know how many people here in this room realize that you've been doing some, what I would consider hard time on the island with some very, very heavy lifting, literally, to bring back the power that the people need. And I thank you for that first and foremost. Second of all, I will say that this is the first time that I bring my reading glasses to one of these things. I've been coming to these meetings and involved with this work for a long time. And I will use this opportunity to thank everybody around the table for the work that is being done, because as we all know, this is not about Everglades National Park. But at the end of the day, Everglades National Park is one of the main benefactors of all of the work that everybody around the table does. So with that, thank you, sir, and everybody around the table for the work that you all do, as well as the public.
Rebecca Elliott, Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. You know, I can't replace Ray, who is now leaving us, but I will take the seat and do my best. But Ray, we'll miss you.
Good morning, Russell Morgan, USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service.
Good morning, Marjorie Kirby, Florida Department of Transportation, State Environmental Programs Administrator. Appreciate the opportunity to continue to engage with this group as we work towards fostering the balance between the built and natural systems. Thank you.
Good morning, Joe Sullivan, USDOT, Federal Highway Administration, Environmental Protection.
Good morning, I'm Bob Pergolski. I'm with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Everglades Program Supervisor and representative on the Science Coordination Group.
Good morning, I'm Larry Williams. I'm the State Supervisor for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I just want to say congratulations to everybody being recognized this morning and passing the torch to the next generation.
Good morning, I'm Chad Kennedy. I'm with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection in the Office of Ecosystem Projects.
Good morning, I'm Edward Smith with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, Office of Ecosystem Projects, and thank you, Colonel, for your service, and Ray and Shannon. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. I think we've made great progress since you've all been here, so thank you.
Good morning, I'm James Evans. Good morning, I'm James Evans. I'm the Director of Natural Resources for the City of Sanibel.
I'm Chris Kelbo. I'm with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory.
Hi, good morning. Gina Ralph, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Environmental Branch.
Good morning, Lee Hefty, Director of Miami-Dade County's Division of Environmental Resources Management, and really glad to be part of this team. Restoring the Everglades and its influence on Biscayne Bay, also very important, so thank you.
Good morning, Liz Donnelly, Charlotte Harbor National Estuary Program.
Good morning, Cecilia Harper, EPA, SERP Liaison to the Corps in Jacksonville.
Good morning, Veronica Harold James with the Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of Florida.
Good morning, Brian Benscoter, Florida Atlantic University, here for Dr. John Baldwin, also Florida Atlantic University.
Barry Rosen with the U.S. Geological Survey, the working group rep for our agency.
Hi, good morning. Deborah Drum. It's my honor to be here newly at the table for the first time as part of Palm Beach County's team. I'm the Department Director for Environmental Resources Management, previously part of this team with Martin County. Colonel, I wanted to thank you. It's been a pleasure to be part of this group under your leadership, and thank you for all of your service, and to Shannon and Ray, thank you for all that you've done for the Everglades as well. So good to be here. Thank you.
Bob Johnson, DOI, Special Advisor on the Science Coordination Team.
All right, so we're going to get right into the agenda. Certainly a reflection as we looked at the federal, state, local teammates that are part of this. This is an amazing group at all three levels that help make it happen. So we're going to start off with an update from the Corps and South Florida Water Management District, a program update with both Howie Gonzalez and Megan Jacoby. So we'll turn it over to you all.
Okay, we're going to get my presentation queued up first, and then we'll get started. Thanks, Colonel Kirk, for that introduction. I'm Howie Gonzalez. I'm the Chief of the Ecosystem Branch and Programs and Project Management Division up in Jacksonville, Corps of Engineers, and we'll be going through a program update today that'll talk us a little bit through where we are currently, where we're looking to go, and look at some of the successes that we've had. I couldn't bring myself to believe that it's been almost 2 years since we last got together, but fortunately there are opportunities throughout the year where we spend a lot of time working on program and project challenges and issues, and I think that's a reflection of the partnership that we have that leads to a lot of the successes that I'll go through today. In today's briefing, next slide. And we'll go next slide. This gives an overview of the different programs and projects that we're tracking. These are the ones that we're working primarily with the South Florida Water Management District. There were 1 or 2 of those that we're working with other sponsors, including the Seminole Tribe of Florida. But it gives you a good perspective that we have project components all throughout the system, north, south, east, and west, and that they all ultimately will work together to help achieve a restored Everglades. You see the S's denoted there. That goes with my next slide. That starts to communicate the successes that we have. And as you look at this slide a little bit closer, you'll see that there are projects in there that we've been working on construction for over 20 years, all the way up to projects that we've just started planning on within the last couple of years, and even the last year with the state's EAA effort. Some of the successes we have, and again, these run the gamut from project planning initiation and achieving milestones within the Corps' planning process to move projects forward, all the way through ultimately turning projects over to the South Florida Water Management District for operations and maintenance. There's no doubt we celebrate a lot of success during the planning, and ultimately we award construction contracts, but it's really getting a construction project completed and turned over to the South Florida Water Management District for operations and maintenance. That's the true finish line that we're seeking. So from the top on Picayune Strand, acknowledging that we have 3 pump stations that are completed now. We just completed the construction and are starting the operational testing and monitoring period for the Miller pump station, the 3rd of the 3 pump stations. And as we'll discuss a little bit further down the presentation, that project's moving forward to a construction completion here in the next several years. All the way through, you see some agreement amendments. Those are very important because they're the basis to which we have the partnership and relationship with the South Florida Water Management District to design and build projects. So there are several components that both myself and Megan will discuss at the Corps building, that the South Florida Water Management District's building, and these agreements are necessary to ensure that we move forward on those. So again, these are some recent successes, most of which you see just carrying from January, and if I'd have dialed that back for the last period since we last met, I could probably give you about 3 or 4 slides. So we always have lots of good stuff going on in this program. So these next couple of slides just reflect some of the messages that we've worked with the South Florida Water Management District to ultimately communicate to new leadership that we have coming on board, whether it's like Colonel Kirk mentioned, a new Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works, a new Chief of Engineers, or any new military leadership that we have coming into our program. One of our main talking points is that we do have a strong federal interest. The sub-bullets there are